Hello viewers, this is Sridhar from CELPIP Academy with yet another video on CELPIP writing survey question. You'll be given 26 minutes to write the survey question and you'll have to write for 150 to 200 words. Like I always say that you can go extra 20% on the 200, that would be 220. Do not exceed more than that. Okay, let's see what do we have here. Let's get started. A local newspaper is planning to launch a new magazine section dedicated to spiritual education. The newspaper has sent out an opinion survey to see what its readers think about the new magazine. Option A, spiritual education is important for development. Option B, spiritual education is not that important. So I would say spiritual education is always important for some kind of a development, to instill some kind of spiritual knowledge, maybe some principles and ethics, morals into our younger generation. So we can start by saying that. So how do we start? Either we can say to whom it may concern, okay, or without that. But if you say to whom it may concern, then you'll have to conclude your survey question by saying regards or best regards, and you have to give your name because they are asking you for the opinion. Who's asking you? The newspaper. To whom it may concern. It is. Let us do all the proofreading later. It is a great idea to launch a section on, or we don't have to say the same thing. We can say it is a great idea to write an article on spiritual education and the news and the local newspaper considers to launch a new magazine on this. Okay, and the local newspaper considers to launch a new magazine on that. However, I opine that it is significant for younger generation to read and instill knowledge on spiritual principles and okay, that should do. So it is a great idea to write an article on spiritual education, and the local newspaper considers to launch a new magazine on that. However, I opine that it is significant for younger generation to read and instill knowledge on spiritual principles and education and get educated. Okay. In fact, we can say instead of reading, get educated here. And remove the education there. However, I opine that it is significant for younger generation to get educated and instill knowledge on spiritual principles. To begin with, there is a plethora of wisdom that can be gained by such an article. Weekly on the weekly new magazine. Furthermore, the children will learn, or we can just keep it to the young. Furthermore, the young, or we can just keep it as people. Furthermore, the people who are unaware of spiritual education may in turn get knowledge on various topics as well. For instance, the magazine may cover topics from our Hindu mythology, which will give for instance, the magazine may cover topics from the Hindu mythology or from Upanishads as well. Mostly the newspapers cover only certain. We can have it on the other hand. On the other hand, mostly the newspapers cover only certain aspects of spiritual education by enlightening the majority education. Nevertheless, by having such writings which will enlighten. So, on the other hand, mostly the newspapers cover only certain aspects of spiritual education. I've seen a few and read a few newspapers where you have maybe a periodical or maybe certain magazine type illustrations and about tidbits of Mahabharata or about certain aspects of Mahabharata or Ramayana and things like that. But the more of spiritual education can be given by um, uh, by such newspapers would be like when we approach certain festivities, it would also give some knowledge to the youngsters, the students especially. So that way it would help them to even talk about a particular festival and how it originated or certain aspects of spiritual education through that magazine would be of great help. On the other hand, mostly the newspaper cover only certain aspects of spiritual education. Nevertheless, by having such writings, they would get enlightening experience. Therefore, spiritual education must not be considered as or considered as not so important. So, in conclusion, I believe the new magazine will most certainly influence the influence many by on education related to so what is spiritual per se? It is of spirits, like um in fact certain aspects of spiritual education could also be, as I said earlier, principles, ethics, morals, and of various things. Like people have problems with their procrastination, problems with planning of time, or certain people have problems with lying or being honest. So that can be negated mostly. In conclusion, I believe the new magazine will most certainly influence many on education related to spiritual principles or spiritual education. Thus, any decision nevertheless, we have already used exhausted, however, and nevertheless. So what else can we use here? We can change this to moreover here and then write nevertheless. worthless. Any decision taken by the newspaper according to the survey will be a warm gesture. Will be a warm gesture. Okay, now we have to conclude it by saying best regards, Sandy. Okay, let's proofread it like I always say from the beginning to the end. To whom it may concern, it is a great idea to write an article on spiritual education, and the local newspaper considers to launch a new magazine on that. However, I opine that it is significant for younger generation to get educated and instill knowledge on spiritual principles. To begin with, there is a plethora of wisdom that can be gained, or we can also say attained, by such articles, and means one, so we'll make it as such articles on the weekly new magazine. Furthermore, people who are unaware of spiritual education may in turn get knowledge on various topics as well. For instance, the magazine may cover topics from our Hindu mythology. That is my opinion. So if you want, you can write your opinion, whatever you want to write, or from Upanishads as well. On the other hand, mostly the newspaper cover only certain aspects of spiritual education. Moreover, by having such writings, they would get enlightening experience. Therefore, spiritual education must not be considered as not so important. Okay. In conclusion, I believe the new magazine will most certainly influence many on education related to spiritual education. Many on knowledge related to spiritual education, because there was a repeat. So nevertheless, any decision taken by the newspaper according to the survey will be a warm gesture. Best regards, Sandy. Now, if you have written more than 175 words, consider this to be a CLB 9 or 10, depending on the lexical resources, a simple to a compound and complex sentence, and even the assessors, at least 4 assessors will be looking at your writing. So a survey question needs to be like an essay, like how we write in the IELTS, but it need not exceed 250 words to 300 words, because they are only asking you to write 150 to 200 words, and you can give extra 10% of 200, that would be 20% extra. So let us also count the words. How many words have we written? So 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120. So we have exceeded 150 words. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and smash the like button. Also comment below. Thanks for watching.